All I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. Do you understand?
G'day guys, Chaos Chronicles. Alright, so I want to tell you about this crazy story that happened to me while I was locked up. So I was still on remand, and I think I'd been on remand maybe for 12 months, so I still had, well over 12 months to go on remand. So I remember I had a conference with my lawyer that day. I was fighting like a number of matters at the same time, and I remember I was having a conference with my lawyer, and we were just talking, and then she said, "Oh, and you got a threat to kill charge," and I'm like, "Oh yeah," and she goes, "Oh, it's actually a threat to kill on a minor," and I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And so anyway, she was reading out the charges, and so it was. So what it actually. So anyway, I was charged with threats to kill on this girl who just so happened to be one of my worst enemies' little sisters, and so like it was. I was just like, yeah. I said to my lawyer, yeah, this absolutely did not happen. I told her what happened. So this is what happened. So I was asleep on my friend's couch one day, and there was a big like a bit of a warfare going on between like people in our area, and so anyway, someone knocks on my mate's door where I was asleep and wakes me up and says, "Quick, quick, quick! Someone's got a gun pulled out on your brother," and I was like, "Oh shit!" So anyway, I went to get my gun, and I went and got in the car, and I said it was like absolutely peeing down with rain at the time. And so I said, "Look, just drop me off at the corner there and I'll walk the rest of the way." And so anyway, when I had got there, like this other guy had told me, this dude has got a gun pulled on my brother, right? And it was a long one. And mine wasn't a long one, and mine also had more shots than his. And how do I know that? Because I could see that it didn't have a magazine in it. And so anyway, long story short, I told this guy to put it away or I was going to put him away. And this guy's little sister came out. And so I grabbed my brother and we dead set took off. And so that was all that happened, right? And so whilst I was in jail, and like this had happened like probably 2 years before, and I'd been locked up for one, so 12 months before I got locked up. So it was like well in the balance, but this is a perfect example of when you are locked up, they can just throw anything they want on you, and they do, and they will, and they will just load you up with as many charges as they can get, knowing that you will probably plead guilty to most of them just to get out of it, and they get away with it, so that's why I also say never ever plead guilty. Like it's a fallacy. Like you should always try and fight, have your say and fight, you know what I mean? But yeah, anyway, so she said, my lawyer said, yeah, and you're charged with threats to kill. And so I told my lawyer, I said, no way. When she said the name, I said, are you kidding me? And she said, look, I need to ask you now, like, did you do this? And I was like, no, look, I didn't do it. And I said, there's no way they're going to be able to prove it. And she said, well, that's why I'm here, because like they actually have 7 statements that say that you done that. And I was like, what? 7 statements? And like, man, I'm thinking back on that day, and I'm thinking there is no way that there was even 7 people around that seen what happened. And so anyway, all the statements were from inside that house where this family lived. And so like this particular family are like the family from hell. Do you know what I mean? Like they don't care about their younger kids, and like go unfed, and like they're a feral family. I'll just say that, And so anyway, I said to my lawyer, I'm like, well, that this could like get me hurt here. People aren't going to want to hear the story. They'll just hear the charges, and that's all they need to hear. So like, I'm like, you know what? Like, this is crazy. So I went back to my unit and I told all my boys, I was like, listen, I was like, I need to tell you all this. And they started laughing and started hanging shit on me and saying, like, oh, you did it, you did it. And so anyway, they knew I didn't. And so something actually happened that I didn't think was going to happen. And I guess maybe yous aren't even going to believe that this would happen. So anyway, I was in court on that day. Now, my lawyer was mid-pregnancy, now couldn't come to my case, but she told me beforehand, and she had organised one of her good lawyers and one of her friends that was a lawyer, and she was good, solicitor anyway. We generally don't use the word lawyer in this country, but anyway, so she sent in this lawyer, and so she is speaking to me, and she said, look, it's your best interest to plead guilty today. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, Emma told you not not to get me to plead guilty. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, and so anyway, I just I couldn't believe that this solicitor was telling me to plead guilty when my lawyer had told her to get me to, had given her instructions, and it was to plead not guilty because I didn't do it. And she's like, yeah, but you definitely should plead guilty. You have all these statements against you. And I said, yeah, they're all from the same family. And so actually, I remember going over it, and all their statements were so different anyway. And like, this actually would have helped me had this thing happened, what happened in court. And it's just something that never happens. And anyway, so she was just kept telling me to plead guilty. And I said, but you know what, lady? I said, you can just get out of here. Just piss off. I don't need you in here. I need you to believe what I'm saying so you can represent me with integrity and like, and get me off this. I don't want to go down for this. I did not do it. And, she just kept on trying to tell me to plead guilty, and I just said, get out. That's it. Just get out. And so I ended up sacking my lawyer, and I went into court. And so it actually made me feel so horrible. So I wasn't even allowed in the courtroom. I had to go into this other room where a camera and that was, and I had to be in there while the other girl and her family was in court, right? And so what happened next, I just never thought would have ever happened. And it literally like quite possibly saved my life. And so anyway, the girl had to get up and tell the judge what had happened, right? And so at this time, by the time this court case had come about, I'd already been in for 2 years, right? So, and this girl was almost 9. She was 8, but it was almost 3 years past that what happened. And anyway, the judge goes, I'll get you to introduce yourself and rah rah rah, and then she did, and she goes, I just need to say something first. And she said, so I can get in trouble if I get found lying here. And the judge took specific, like the way he explained it to that girl, she understood that, this is a place where we find out if people are telling lies and truth, and that's what we do. And when people do lie, we find out that they do lie, and rah rah rah. And at the time I didn't think of it, but I guess that the little girl was probably feeling a little bit bad, and she said, well, I just need to say that man on that screen did not point a gun at me, because what was said was that I pointed a gun at her and asked her where her brother was, right? And so that was what was said that happened. So the charge was, because I had the gun, it was threats to kill on a minor, and even though I didn't do that, but that's what they charged me with. And so anyway, this little girl said that guy up there on that screen, because that's where I was on the camera, did not tell me he was going to kill me. He did come to my house, and he did point a gun at my brother, and I did. I admit that, and I did. And she said, but my brother and my mum and my older sisters taught me to say what I needed to say. And the judge is like, so wait, hang on a minute. Are you telling me that what you told the police officers isn't what happened? And she's like, no, that's not what happened. So my mum and my brother and my sisters taught me how to say that, and made sure that I was saying it right, and kept teaching me it. And so they were like teaching her lines to say that I pulled a gun out on them, and on her and not her brother, right? And so the judge was like, I cannot believe this. And so like the whole family was there, and then so he said, thank you, rah rah rah, and like he went in to say that, like, I'm gonna have to stand this down at the moment, but let me know, let me, yous need to know that there's going to be a lot of people charged with perjury and for lying to the police, and there will be like outside charges laid. And so I ended up, it got adjourned that day, and then so there was talk that they were going to throw the charges out, but because like I did admit that I did pull the gun out on the brother, I ended up getting charged with that. But like yeah, it was. I told them that it was a fake firearm, and there was no way that they could prove whether it was real or fake. There was no guns, like it wasn't a part of the evidence, and so like I was charged with it, and so that's how I got, and so that is how what ended me up with the 9 years on top and 7 years on the bottom. I actually had 8.5 years on the top and 6.5 years on the bottom, and I got an extra 6 months added to the bottom and 6 months added to the top. But like that could have like that there could have like literally seen me get an extra like 4 years on top of my 8.5 years, and I obviously didn't do it, and so like it's just crazy. And like once, because I was already locked up, I really really couldn't fight it the way that you can. It's so hard to fight your case when you are locked up. Like you've only got certain phone times you can call your lawyer. You might not be able to get on the phone that day, you might not have money on the phone that day. Like, man, it's a nightmare. So trust me, like, jail is shit for a million different reasons, and that being one of them. That, once you are in jail, fighting, like, it's hard to tell the jury that you're not in jail when you're rocking up in, the same clothes every day. And, if you've got calculs, they're looking like clean shaven and looking $1,000,000, and there's only a certain amount of dollars you can look in prison. So once again, it ain't a life you want to be doing, guys, and for a multitude of reasons. But like, to save me, it's just easy for me to say jail and that crime life is just shit and ain't worth it, guys. It literally is not worth it. But anyway, guys, I have been the Chaos Chronicles. You guys have been absolutely awesome. If you have not shot me a subscribe, jump up there, shoot me a subscribe. That would be absolutely fantabulistic. And if you could smash that bell, that way you will never miss any of my videos again. When you hit that bell, it will send you notifications that I've just dropped a vid, and you'll be able to watch it. All right, guys, drop a comment. As you guys know, I will answer all my comments. If they are, if they're not rude and whatnot, I will answer most comments, guys, So, all right, guys, Chaos Chronicles, we out.
I am also the guy who decides if you and your friends walk out of here or not.